the right person for you at every point in time, the right person for that version of you is as evolved as that version of you. So if you're not a vulnerable person and you are living your life externally, you're going to gravitate towards someone living their life externally. If you work on yourself, you are a vulnerable person, you're emotionally healthy and communicative, then you'll attract, meet, and tolerate a person that has that too. I've been talking about this, but it's an interesting thing when you don't bother to look for your voice and you live your life for everybody else. One day you wake up and realize that life feels empty because you never made the decisions for yourself. You let everybody else make them for you. And I had one of those moments a few years ago where I woke up and I was like, oh my gosh, my life is empty and it actually means nothing. It doesn't have any bit of me in it. So yeah, that was a terrifying but beautiful experience, and it was very painful at the time, but has put me on a new trajectory of life that I am grateful for. And only through pain can there be rebirth. So yeah, sometimes pain is necessary. Welcome back to the Soft Edit. And in this episode, we are doing a soft take segment where I will be answering some questions from our lovely producer, Brie. And I really hope they're not hard. I really, really hope they're not hard. Okay, first question. What's something a younger version of you was absolutely certain about that you now look back on and think, girl, who told you that? Ooh, that's a good question. I think when I was younger, I grew up seeing, and I think this is a little bit of a cultural norm, I grew up seeing a lot of people, a lot of women give a lot of themselves up for the sake of the family, the community, the group. And it was so ingrained in me that that's how women are supposed to exist. That you're supposed to always put yourself last, that everybody else matters more, and that it's humility, and that women are supposed to be humble. And I realized that that kind of thinking can be such a detriment to women because it holds us back in a lot of ways and makes it okay that we can forget about ourselves and it'll be celebrated. So I think it's something that's common in a lot of cultures, especially in patriarchal cultures. But yeah, I think if I were to go back, I'd tell my younger self, stop. That's that's not how you're supposed to live. That's not how women are supposed to live. It doesn't hold anymore. Like, we are supposed to take up space. We are supposed to want and go after more. We deserve it just as much. So yeah, I think that's what I would tell myself 100%. And that's what I would tell any young woman. Prioritize yourself. You are important too. You are just as important. Okay, next question. What's something about yourself you feel like you're still figuring out? Ooh, this is a good question. I think I'm still figuring out what I want out of life. I don't know that that's a question we ever fully answer because I think it always changes and I think it should change. as you grow, as you have more information, what you want out of life should change. So yeah, I'm still figuring it out. I think I'll always be figuring it out. What's important though is I'm okay with figuring it out. So yeah. Awesome. Okay. What's something about love or relationships that you've had to unlearn as you've gotten older? Ooh, this is on brand and on topic. One thing I've had to unlearn when it comes to love and relationships is this like fairy tale storybook idea that all of it is just supposed to be easy. Life is hard, and navigating life with another person can be super beautiful, but it's also hard. And I think the narrative that it's all supposed to be easy really robs you of realizing and recognizing love when it comes to you, or when you finally meet it, because you're expecting something easy when the reality of life is everything is work, and love and relationships are work too. But that's not a bad thing. I think it's only a bad thing if you have a bad relationship with work. So yeah, I would say that's something that I had to unlearn. But that's been important to unlearn, and I'm glad that I've unlearned. Is there a version of yourself you performed for a long time for a family, a partner, a job that you're now starting to take off? Wow. Bree with the questions. Yes. I think in past relationships, I really, again, kind of lost myself in them, where I was trying to be so considerate of the other person that I forgot that I had a voice, and I forgot what I wanted was important too. And I think it's been the last 2 years of my life where I've been learning to find my own voice, pay attention to what I want, and listen to it. Yeah. Good question. These wild cards. Okay. What's something in your life right now that you're still learning to be patient with? Oof, great question. And I have an answer to this one. I am such a perfectionist, and when things don't go exactly how I expect them to go, or when I'm particularly bad at something, it's really hard for me. And right now I'm particularly bad at paddle, and a bunch of other new things that I'm trying. But I think it's important to be okay with the messiness of a process of learning something new or getting better at something. And that's something I've had to learn to be patient with in myself. It's okay if you're bad at something today. It takes time and effort and energy and work to get good at something. Just because you're bad at something today doesn't mean you'll be bad at something forever. So yeah, learning to be patient with myself as I learn new things, and as in the process of learning new things, I'm bad at things. What does a healthy relationship look like to you now that maybe you didn't understand before? It looks like a really good friendship. It looks like best friends. It looks like arguments that are resolved through conversations and through compassion and grace. But I've long said this, I think when you find your person, or when you find the right person, they really should feel like a very good friend. And so, yeah, that's also something important. I think we all learn as we get older. It's not really about a Prince Charming. It's about your best friend. when it comes to romance, what are you still figuring out about yourself? Hmm. I think I'm learning how to be a partner. I think I'm learning how to show up as my full self and how to show up with my voice so that I am considered in any relationship. Um, because that's hard and it's not intuitive for me. So, speaking my mind, showing up fully, taking up space is something I'm still learning in the construct of relationships. Okay. What's a mistake you made that ended up teaching you something really important? Ooh, this is a great question. I think I've talked about this before, but I was in a relationship where I had really let someone down and was not a good partner in that construct. And I think what it taught me was the importance of sacrifice instead of self preservation, but also the importance of not ignoring your own voice and holding the tension of what another person wants versus what you want, um, and making a decision based on that. So, yeah, I think that's what it taught me. More than anything, I think it taught me to find my voice, but also that my voice is not the only voice that counts, which I think is important and something we need to realize in the construct of a relationship. How do you remind yourself to trust your own timing when everyone else seems to be moving fast? Ooh, this is a great question. And something I've long struggled with. I think when people have something you don't, by the timeline that you're supposed to have it, you really like struggle. And it's an interesting thing to be constantly bombarded by other people getting things that you don't have, which I think social media and Instagram algorithms do a great job of just reminding you all the things you don't have yet. I think for me, it's about unplugging from that, interrogating where that feeling is coming from, and then reminding myself that whatever is supposed to be mine will be mine. And I'm on my own timeline. I'm living a life that is according to me. And that can mean sometimes not being on the same timeline as everybody else. And that's okay as long as it's according to me. Okay, next question. If your love life was a movie, what genre would it be? And are you happy with that genre? Immediately wanted to say horror. No, I think it would be like I hate to say it because these are so cliche, but I think it would be like one of those movies where the girl just meets a bunch of different people and almost all of them are wrong for her, and she has like a lesson along the way from all of those. So I don't want to say a romantic comedy. I think maybe like a new age romantic comedy where it's not, because I think the thing that's wrong with the romantic comedies, honestly, is a lot of them stop right before things get hard, or a lot of them glorify like the chase and then um, don't kind of show what love really looks like, which is active work and consideration. And yeah, so I wouldn't say a romantic comedy. I'd say like a thriller with like romantic comedy elements, where I'm the main character and I have to survive a few monsters before I get my happy ending. These days, what does success actually mean to you? Ooh. Success means living life according to me. Yeah. I think not anybody else's timeline or expectations or commentary, but mine. So, yeah, that's what success looks like to me. And I hope that's what success looks like to you too. What's something in your life that you're proud of that has nothing to do with work or achievement? Can I say this podcast? I want to say this podcast because it's a lot of, it is work, but it's a lot of introspection for me, and it's a lot of reflection and vulnerability in a way that I haven't really been in the past. So yeah, it's a lot of bravery and openness that I think has made my life so much fuller, and so much more beautiful. And of course, the two amazing people I get to work with behind stage, Ian and Bree. So yeah, this podcast. If you could sit down with your younger self for coffee, what would you want to tell her about uncertainty? That uncertainty isn't the enemy. It's just a part of life, and it's not scary. Maybe sometimes it can be scary, but it's also hopeful. And it also means that you can rewrite and create things that are different, which is okay. It's a part of life. And actually developing a good relationship with uncertainty can change the way you live, which is great. So yeah, uncertainty isn't the enemy. It's part of the magic. When you think about younger Luam, what did she imagine adulthood looks like? I would severely disappoint young Luam. I think she had a very clear script of what life is supposed to look like. So I think on the surface, she would be disappointed because I didn't check all the boxes that she wanted me to check. But she didn't know to choose different. And she didn't know what fulfillment looks like. And I do. So I think for that, she would be proud of me. Okay, making headway. Can you think of a moment in your life that really made you rethink something you believed? Yeah. I've been talking about this, but it's an interesting thing when you don't bother to look for your voice and you live your life for everybody else. One day you wake up and realize that life feels empty because you never made the decisions for yourself. You let everybody else make them for you. And I had one of those moments a few years ago where I woke up and I was like, oh my gosh, my life is empty and it actually means nothing. It doesn't have any bit of me in it. So, yeah, that was a terrifying but beautiful experience. And it was very painful at the time, but has put me on a new trajectory of life that I'm grateful for. And only through pain can there be rebirth. So, yeah, sometimes pain is necessary. Is there something you used to feel guilty about that you've started giving yourself more grace around? Oh, yeah, rest. I think it's really easy to, again, live your life externally and think that I need to be doing all these things. I see other people doing all these things. I need to have 10,000 projects. I need to be running this. I need to be doing that. I need to be doing that. And when your brain is in like a constant frenzy or constant anxiety or constant panic and you don't find time for rest, one day, and I'm speaking from experience, you'll break. And then it'll be super difficult to get back up again. It was super difficult for me to get back up again, but I did. And I learned a very important lesson. Rest is not something you have to earn. It is something you are entitled to. So make time for rest. Okay, we're nearing the end. Do you ever catch yourself comparing your life to someone else's? What usually triggers that? Oh, for sure. I think we all do this. And I think for someone to say I never do this is not 100% honest. It's just how do you react after you compare your life to someone else's? And social media makes it so easy to do that constantly. I stop. Like if I'm scrolling on Instagram or TikTok or something, I stop. I exit the app, and then I remind myself that the life that I'm living and the person that I am is different. The path that I have in life is different. And who's to say where it's going to go and at what pace I'm going to evolve? But again, the only person I need to live life according to is me. So I remind myself that I'm living my life according to me. And my path will also have peaks and troughs, and that's just a part of life. At our own pace, all of us at our own pace. I don't think you can compare yourself one to one with somebody else because nobody has lived your exact life. So when those moments happen, exit your social media app, sit with yourself, and remind yourself you're living your life according to you, and who knows what's next for you. Be honest. When do you notice yourself tying your worth to how productive you've been? I think usually when I'm really exhausted, that's when it kind of snaps for me that, oh, I'm doing this. And I think when other people are describing all the things that they're doing, because I think that's also natural. When someone says, oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing this, you're like, oh, what about me? I should be doing this. I should be doing that. Why aren't I doing this? What's wrong with me? Nothing's wrong with you. You're fine. You're living your life at your own pace. And just because something happened for someone at this timeline doesn't mean that it has to happen for you in the same. Maybe your timeline is different. Maybe your timeline is better. Who knows? None of us know. So keep walking your own path. That's the only path you should concern yourself with. When was the last time you really let yourself rest without feeling like you had to earn it? Oh, last weekend. I spent Sunday sleeping and watching all of the TV shows. It was great. But again, this is something and a practice that I have had to learn and I've had to push myself to do. It's not something that was automatic for me by any means. Life is work and it's active practice, and changing your life is no exception. What's something about success that you used to believe, but you're slowly unlearning now? That it looks the same for everybody. And that it's defined by other people, not by me. I thought there was like an objective measure to success, but success looks different for different people. And the only person who gets to dictate what success looks like for you is you. So don't put that kind of pressure on yourself. Focus on your own definition of success and work on that. I'm not saying that work is bad or that trying to achieve success is bad. It's good, but make sure that definition comes from you, not from somebody else. Have you ever realized you were chasing a version of love that wasn't actually good for you? Yes, I have. Love is an interesting thing. Love is an interesting thing. I think how we learn what love is also really interesting. Some of us have really good models at home and our parents that we grow up with. Some of us don't. And our first experience of love is fairy tales and movies and romantic comedies. The problem with the latter is that you hold this version of love that's not real and that's not full and that doesn't kind of contain the multitudes of what love is or what it should be. You get a one-dimensional version, and so you look for what love should look like instead of what it should feel like. And I'm no exception. I looked for what love should look like. And was in relationships that didn't feel great because I wasn't paying attention to what love should feel like, and I didn't know what love should feel like. Learning what love should feel like was active work for me. And honestly, trial and error to a degree, because every person that you encounter teaches you something different about you and about what you need and about how love should feel for you. But you can't do that until you've also kind of cracked open and done your own work. Because I don't think you have real capacity to love someone unless you approach it from a place of vulnerability and unless you're willing to be vulnerable with them. And I took a very long time to become a vulnerable person. It took active work and it took therapy. I lived, I'll say my 20s, early 20s, like lived them on this very external, one-dimensional plane where all that mattered were the things around me, not the things inside me. Because I didn't know better until I did. And I think that awareness comes for everybody, and it comes in different points of our life. And we can't control when it comes, but when it does come, listen to it, interrogate it, follow it, because it's teaching you that the way that you have been living isn't working anymore. And it's teaching you to go deeper, to feel more, to be more. And then I've also struggled, to be honest, having a voice inside relationships, because it's also this sort of conditioning that I grew up with that everybody else's voice matters more than me. And that's something I've been actively unlearning over the last few years of my life. So on that journey, I met and encountered people that were, I'll say, the right fit for the person that I was at every point of that journey. not because they were my person, but because they taught me something that pushed me further. And there was this like quote or concept that I'm totally going to butcher. The right person for you at every point in time, the right person for that version of you is as evolved as that version of you. So if you're not a vulnerable person and you are living your life externally, you're going to gravitate towards someone living their life externally. If you work on yourself, you are a vulnerable person, you're emotionally healthy and communicative, then you'll attract, meet, and tolerate a person that has that too. And it's not to say that when you're healed, you won't meet unhealed people. You're going to meet a lot of unhealed people because the work is hard and a lot of people don't want to do it. But when you are healed, you can just let those people go past you. You don't stop them. You don't focus on them. You don't invest in them. You let them go. And you look for somebody that does have the same things that you do, that is emotionally healthy, that can communicate, that is kind, considerate, and caring, that does act like a partner. So yeah, like everybody, I've had versions of myself, and I've had people that were a right fit for those versions of myself, and were a wrong fit for the person that I am today, because the person that I am today is much fuller. So I think I would tell anybody that realizes that they're in the wrong partnership or wrong situation, especially as you unlearn and evolve, to be mindful of what their inner voice is telling them. If it's not right for you, it's not right for you. And that's okay. I think those are all our questions. So we are officially done. Thank you so much for joining us at the Soft Edit. Remember, you are the author and editor of your life, so make it work for you. Thank you so much. Bye. Done.